We're back with another block conversation. Today we have a special guest, a young man I've been knowing a little while. So please sit back, enjoy, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and be blessed. Phil Jr., what's going on, man? How you doing?
Good, you?
I'm doing well. So everybody, we got Phil Jr. today. I call him PJ. Young man I've been knowing a little while. Great young man. So got a few questions for you. And my first question would be tell me a little bit about your childhood and you being the baby boy and only boy.
Childhood, I grew up in a two-parent household. My parents have always been together for 26 years now and married. Got two other siblings. And like you said, I'm the baby boy, only boy. So I have two older sisters. One is 27 or 8, and the other one is 26. I'm 25. I think she's 28. But childhood, we like I said, we all grew up in the same house, very loving family. Grandparents was always in my life. I had plenty of cousins, so I'm very family oriented. So growing up that way just made me that way. So I like to be around family. So when it comes to holidays, especially like times like now, it's good to have a family around.
Cool. So tell me this. Being a baby boy, are you spoiled?
Yeah. My sisters think so. I mean, I think so too. Being the youngest child, I feel like you do have more of a special place in your parents' heart because you're the last one, and me being the only boy, I know that's something my mom, like, she tells me all the time, like, you're my special child because I'm the youngest and I'm a boy. And from my dad's side, he tells me all the time, like, that's all he wanted was a son. So me being a junior named after him, I feel like that's more what he wanted, and maybe the best thing that probably happened in his life is having a baby boy.
Yeah, that'll work. Look, I always tell the way I do my kids is like I tell Hezzy he's my favorite middle child. I tell Elijah she's my favorite. I mean, not Elijah, but Elijah he's my favorite baby boy. Asia she's my favorite girl because is the only girl, and Rick is my favorite oldest. So I kind of play with them like that. But yeah, that's pretty cool, man. And how was it growing up in Arlington?
Well, I was growing up, like you said, because I was born in Fort Worth at I think Harris Hospital in Fort Worth. Don't quote me on it. I think so. But I know I was born in Fort Worth, Texas. But growing up in Arlington, Texas, I mean, we used to live down off of Green Oaks. I think it was a street called Hemlock, and grew up there till I was about 5. And we moved, and where we live now, we've been here since 2006, so almost 20 years now.
It'll work, man. I remember that Hemlock house. Yeah, man.
But growing up in Arlington, I mean, a lot of people say Arlington is ghetto. I've never seen it personally. Like, I mean, I guess it's the areas that I grew up in,
right?
Growing up in Arlington, but I don't see myself living anywhere else because this is where I've been.
It's home, man.
And now living closer to the Mansfield side and going to Mansfield schools, like, I feel like Arlington is a place that I'd recommend somebody to, if they feel like moving to a better community. I'll say Arlington's a great community to be in. Like I said, I never had a bad experience living out here. Like, no police brutality, no racial profiling, stuff like that. Going into stores, like, I see other places, you see videos all the time. People get followed around in stores and stuff. I've never seen that over here personally.
Gotcha.
But I guess it's the way you choose to live your life too. So,
hey, man,
like I said, growing up here and growing up with a good family, I try to have a decent head about myself and, do the right thing. So, and of course, my career now, like, I'm still based in Arlington. So, like I said, Arlington is just a place that I don't ever really just see myself moving from. Texas in general, I don't see myself getting out of Texas, but Arlington is definitely like a place that I like being.
Gotcha. Tell me about a little bit about your Mississippi roots. I know so how was that whenever you go back and just your family's from there? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, my dad being from Mississippi, mom was from Fort Worth. My dad growing up in Mississippi, And like you said, me having those roots, you definitely learn like some Southern ways.
Right.
And that's a good thing, I say, because being 25 now, I definitely know how to do more stuff than maybe your average 25-year-old does, which mainly most of the stuff I learn involves a lot of work. So you kind of learn how to, one, be disciplined when it comes to doing stuff, because nobody gonna do it for you, or you're gonna pay somebody to do it. That's what my dad always tells me. Figure out how to do it yourself, or you're gonna pay somebody for the rest of your life. So when it comes to work, I kind of know the ins and outs of, trying to fix my own stuff. Um, Other thing you learn is a bunch of slang,
Country,
country slang,
yes, yes,
good
yes.
and bad. I say the good stuff is more, I guess it's a funny way of saying stuff. You learn like a lot of Southern slangs. Like you might ask somebody how they doing and they might say, "Oh, I'm making it," or, fair to middling. And you just be like, nobody,
What?
But I'm saying most people, when you ask them how they are, they say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm fine." But I'm saying somebody say they fair to middling, you'd be like, "What?" But it's just another form of saying like all is well,
Right.
You kind of learn how to like be free-ish, because like you said, going back there to visit is more free than being here in the city, because only negative side about it, everything's far. So going to the store is going to take you about 30 minutes to get to the store.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of my 2-minute drive down the block just to go to Walmart. But you have to, like I said, you learn how to do stuff because nobody's out there to do it for you. And like I said, you're going to either learn how to do it yourself or call somebody how to do it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I can say that's having Mississippi roots is definitely a good thing, and having that presence of my father is definitely like something good about me.
Look, that's gonna keep me rolling to my next question. So, how is it being the son of my friend, my brother, my the man who makes me laugh, Phil Stigler, Senior?
And like you said, senior, so being his son, number one thing, everybody always tell me, "Hey, you look just like your daddy. You look just like your dad."
Yeah.
And I'll say I do. But he always tells me I don't act like him, which is in some aspects I do. I have my own form of comedy because he is a very funny guy.
Yeah.
But I have my own form of comedy, like the way I speak, or even like doing my own video skits. Like most people say they can see how I act like my dad in my videos. But and like I was saying before, him having the Mississippi roots, like I've learned a lot from him. He's somebody I look up to.
Hey, hope you're enjoying these block conversations. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, and comment below. Stay tuned.
Him being somebody in my life and somebody I look up to, he's a role model of mine for sure. And he's always somebody I just go to for advice. And most people just look at him as, oh, he played too much. Oh, he jokes a lot. That's the people who don't really know him, in my personal opinion, because he's more than that.
Oh, yeah.
Number one, he's a great father. Number two, great husband. I see how he treats my mom. Like I said, my parents been together all my life.
Yes.
I never seen him mistreat my mom. Never seen him, put her down any type of way. Cause, being in a marriage, I feel like you got to be each other's, rock, like you said.
Sir.
So
yes, sir.
Them holding each other together, it's like I said, especially in a time like now, like me recently losing my grandmother, my dad's been right there by my mom, right by her side. So like I said, he's definitely somebody that I'll brag about to somebody else. I'm never gonna, somebody asks me about my dad, I'm never gonna say, oh, I don't forget my daddy. Like I love my father. Like he's a good dude,
And that's awesome that you can, you can sit there and say, that's somebody I'll brag about. Being your dad, it's just, so that's awesome because your dad is a great man. Look, I've been around him for
like I said,
over 20 years, and yeah.
And him being, like I said, he's been in my life my whole life. He's never been an absent father. And like I just go to him, like sometimes we just sit and talk. And like I said, we go out. His form of bonding with me and him, we're gonna go outside and do some work.
Yeah.
Something like we're gonna wash the car, we're gonna cut the grass, rake the leaves, something like that. But like another thing I can say about him, he gonna talk about God. And that's important in our family, for one, and important to me because relationship with God is very important to me. Growing up, like as your kid, you kind of feel like you're forced to go.
Right.
But like watching y'all sing within the group, that kind of always made me want to go to church because I like to see y'all like sing and play the instruments and stuff.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, like I said, like even on the back porch, sometimes we just sitting there watching wrestling, and that's one of my favorite things to do with my dad: sit on the back porch or sit in the living room and watch wrestling. But every time he gonna talk about God, or he
Yes.
gonna have a small sermon, or make sure I understand like this is what happened, or he might relate something I'm going through in my life to something that happened in the Bible. Because honestly, in the Bible, a lot of stuff is not new. Like your life experience, it most likely happened in the Bible because we weren't the first people here.
Right, right.
So
And I know for a fact, the back porch life, the garage life, being over there, and we get on the Bible, and it's 2 hours can turn into 4.
exactly,
You know what I mean? And I'm like, your auntie is giving me a call, like, hey, you got to get up in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So I
yeah,
understand how it just, but that's what we do, you know. And I love being able to talk to somebody who wants to talk about the Bible, and we encourage one another with the Bible. So yeah,
yeah,
I agree with that, man. You get over there, you're gonna talk about the Bible.
right.
Bottom line. I mean,
And
that's it.
with him anyway, he's gonna mention Christ in some way, form, or fashion because like he was brought up in church, and like he tell me like he wasn't always 100% serious about church, but most, like I said, most people think he just goof around all the time. Nah, he's more than that.
Yes, sir.
He gonna definitely be in his word, and he gonna make sure his kids know that. Anybody around him, he gonna make sure you know that word.
Yes, sir. How was graduation day, PJ? How was graduation day, man?
And so, for those who don't know, watching this, I am a licensed barber, and back in March of 2025, March 15th, 2025, to be exact, I graduated from barber college, and from that day, like I said, it was an emotional day because it was something like that was probably one of my biggest accomplishments in life, and to be surrounded by like people that love me, and I'm glad that they got to share that with me. Like, yes, the day was about me, but it wouldn't be nothing without my family being there because, of course, they're the ones who supported me through it. At first when I mentioned, hey, like I think I'm gonna want to be a barber, you know, parents weren't 100% in on it, but once they seen I was serious about it, they put me out on social media. Hey, like check out my son. He's doing good. My mom's like, keep striving, son. She tell me every day, like she liked the path I'm going. And now that I'm, still doing it, what that's 10 months later since graduation, I'm still full-time licensed barber that, they still support me. And like I said, on that day of graduation, just being surrounded by a bunch of family and people I love and having people there with me to, share that moment with me is very like fulfilling because a lot of people don't have a family. And like most of the time, you achieve stuff and nobody gives you your flowers or your hand clap, nothing like that. But, all a bunch of smiles and hugs from people I love, like that day just that's going down in the history books of like one of my best days in my life.
Right, right. You got a great support staff, man.
Right.
That's
And
awesome.
I do agree with that because I'm not gonna say I do a lot of stuff on my own, but if you talk to my parents, I don't ask them for much, and if I do, it might be for a reason, but ask them it's rare. I'm probably never really gonna ask them for something because I go to work, make my own money, got my own car. It taught me how to build my credit up. So most of the stuff, the small stuff you need in life, I got already. So we set. Only thing I haven't done for myself is try to move out yet. And I'm still waiting on to do that.
Got to thank God for the support staff. Once
Right.
again, man, you doing your thing. And remember, I was like your first guinea pig, right?
Right. And I was gonna bring that up too. You and your sons, and y'all were my first clients, and
So
I'm very thankful for that.
yes, sir, man. Tell me about your journey from student to professional.
And like we were saying, the student to professional. So I shared this story earlier at church with an individual because he asked me about my barber journey. Barbering was never in my plans ever in my life to be a professional barber. Never picked up clippers for a long time. I didn't cut hair like for a long time before I started. So about maybe February of 2024, I started cutting my own hair. And yeah, since that time, I started learning how to cut my own hair. I just wanted to get better at it because I was starting to grow my hair out, and I wasn't finna pay to get my hair cut and twisted because you're gonna be out of a good amount of money after those two are done. So after those months from February to about June went by, your son, I got on the phone with him. He was like, man, he started doing his coaching thing. And Hezi is also somebody I look up to. Even though he's younger than me, he's somebody I look up to. But I always go to him for advice. He was like, man, I'm doing this coaching thing. I'm really serious. I'm trying to, focus on doing that. And I noticed he started getting off of social media a lot and like kind of putting his focus toward that. So he told me like, hey, what are you thinking about doing? I was like, man, honestly, I'm thinking about going to barber college. I was like, I feel like I'm getting good at cutting my hair. He was like, why don't you just do it? So I did. And he was like, when I come back from college, you can start cutting me. So I did. So he started, then you started, and then Elijah started coming by to get cut. So after that, I was like, I probably can put this plan into motion. So in August of 2024, I enrolled in barber college. So it took me 8 months to get to, like you said, student to professional. It took me 8 months to get through school, get my license. Well, let me start over on that. It took me 8 months from enrolling to college to graduation to taking my 2 tests to get my license, to getting my license, to get into a shop. Now I've been in a shop since March, and I've been in a shop full-time barber ever since then. So from student to professional, like you said, y'all was the guinea pigs. I look at old pictures right now, and I'd be like, dang, like I was messing people up.
Yeah, I had to. My beard was kind of jacked up.
I'd be like, dang.
But I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? What I would do, I would just be like, keep going on, man.
Right.
Keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate that. Y'all never like put me down, and
nah,
nobody did really. Like nobody ever put me down. Like especially people I started with, and I'm thankful for all the clients I still have now. That, like you said, from those guinea pig days, I was cutting for free. I was just really practicing it, y'all. So looking at my work then and the work I know I do now is definitely like, dang, like I'm really doing this now.
No, you're a professional, bro. You're a professional.
My confidence with it is definitely like up here because when I started, I'll be nervous every cut.
Right.
Like, just dang, I hope I don't mess him up. I hope he like it when I give him the mirror.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But like now, I know when you sit in my chair, you're gonna like it when you get done. Because
that's what I'm talking about.
I've never, and not to brag, like I said, I've been cutting for a year and a half now, but I'm saying cutting professionally since I got my license is April of 2025. Nobody has ever like complained about a haircut. I hand in the mirror, full confidence in themselves. Got them back in the game, they coming back. Positive feedback from clients, especially because they're the ones funding my business, and this is like my entry level into entrepreneurship because I don't just want a barber, like, yes, I can sit behind the chair and still make money as long as I can. I want to take it and do something else with it. I want to take this and open my own business, start, my own product line, something like that. Even get sponsored by some clippers, like a clipper brand or a barber brand, barber supply brand, something like that. So it's just the beginning right now. I'm just starting out, but I'm saying I got to keep going and, keep thanking God every day for giving me the vision to do it. Cause like I said, I never thought I would actually cut hair a day in my life, but giving me the vision, giving me the strength to keep going because like you told me earlier, I put a plan in motion and I stuck to it. Now look at me. So that's a motivation for anybody else. If you feel like doing anything with your life, stop saying you can't. Yes, I understand money might be an issue. Vehicle, place to stay, however you got to do it. Like I said, I came up from a different upbringing, but I'm saying I still had some type of struggle to get there. Me, like you said, student to professional, I didn't just go to barber college. I switched my whole job around to go to school. School was only full time and I had to make a commitment. So I switched my job to working overnight for 7 months just to finish school. And I didn't even work those full months because I ended up getting let go from my job. So I say, I worked 5.5 months working overnight to finish school. But guess what? I didn't let me losing my job stop me from getting to my goal. So I still kept striving. I didn't have a job, but I said I knew where I was going. So that's a motivation for anybody. If you want to do something, just take the chance on yourself and do it. Because like I said, it only took me 8 months. And if you're looking for a barber in Arlington, Texas, hit me up. I'll put my hand on the screen, Junie Tune.
You talk about the struggle and how it was kind of, losing your job and just kind of making a career change, right? So how did that impact your faith, and how has your faith grown in the past year?
Definitely had to trust God. And like I said, my upbringing, I was brought up in church. I did get away from church. I will admit that I got away from church maybe from the age of 19 till 22. And when I was turning 22, that's when I started going back to church. I joined the church in 2022, but my first time actually going back to visit ALC was when y'all went to that building.
Okay.
So that had to be 2022. But that's when I started going back to church. Like, I got away from going to church. Like, did I lose my faith? No. I still trusted and believed in God, but I didn't actively start going to church often until then. And of course, I don't just go every Sunday, but I have a routine of going to church. But like you said about having the faith, when I lost my job, I had to trust God because I had 3 more months left of barber college. So only money I was making was money from YouTube, money from the tips I make at barber college, and then I had the money I still had in my savings account and what I had in my bank account at the time. The tips we got in school, it wasn't, it ain't like we making what I make now, like, $35, $40, $50 a cut. I'm saying we making, maybe $5, maybe $2 a cut. So I definitely have to trust God. Was I looking for a job? Yes. But from that time, I lost my job in December of 2024. I didn't start working again a job because I do have a part-time job now. I didn't get another part-time job or any job until September of 2025. So December 2024 to September 2025, I had to trust God to keep blessing my life. Still had a car to pay for, still had a bunch of bills to pay for, loans. So putting my trust into God 100% that he's going to lead me and guide me, like I feel like that was a test of faith. Because what if I just said, oh no, God's not gonna guide me through this, and it's gonna be dependent on me. No, it was dependent on God, because without God, I wouldn't have made it that long without, having some type of steady income. Because like I said, I didn't start doing this professionally till April. So making the good barber money, as people say, I didn't start that until a couple months after. I had to really watch the money I'm spending, because you end up spending more than you're making. And I still had bills to pay. The bills don't stop. Right, so they're going to come out. Right. They're going to come out regardless.
Right.
So I'm saying I have to watch, be like, dang, even though I want this bill's got to come first. And I have to be disciplined about that. So definitely, I think it was a test of faith. And I wouldn't say I gave up on looking for a job, but it almost got to that point, because yes, I'm a full-time barber, but having the part-time job I have now, that helps me pay the bills I have to pay. Because being a barber, it's up and down. It's never like I'm making the same check every week. Like, you're going to go up and down. So me putting my faith 100% in God, I'll say that actually made me, trust him a little bit more with what I got going on in life. Like, I never got away from trusting God or believing in God, but when you actually sit down and kind of process what's going on, like I said, you got to think dang, I really don't have no steady income coming in, and I still got bills to pay. You got to sit there and be like, dang, God kept me.
Yeah.
He kept me in those months where I felt like I wasn't going to make it.
Doc, I almost grabbed that guitar and put you in the key, man. Look, he kept you, right? Yeah, I understand that. Yes, so sir. I'm saying, sir.
And it got to, I'm not going to lie, it got to that point. It ain't like I didn't have no money, but I'm saying it got to the point where I felt like, dang, I'm never finna, the business is not going to grow.
Right.
Because like I said, just starting out cutting hair, you're not going to be booked out all the time.
Right.
You got it. But I'm saying, if nobody's sitting in your chair, you're not going to make no money.
Right.
So it got to the point where I was just like, dang, maybe I should, this not the right move. I'm saying you just got to keep trusting him and keep trusting that he going to keep me, because he kept me.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
I will testify to that. He kept me in those months because he was trying to see, was I going to lean on me
Yes,
or lean
sir.
on God?
Yes, sir.
So I'll definitely say that was a test of faith for me, and I had to keep my faith in God, because that I did that. I feel like now, since I got my part-time job in September till January now, definitely like came back to a more positive way of thinking about how life is going. Like I wasn't beating myself up about thinking I made the wrong career choice, or, like you said, the wrong switch in a career. Like that was, because there's times I'd be like, dang, I should have kept working at the warehouse. Like, dang, why did I, get fired from this job and like think this was gonna work out for me? So you definitely gotta trust God in everything you do. Not everything, like not even just like when it comes to financial situations, but anything. You want a new job, or you got bills that's coming and you don't, you probably don't have the funds to do it, or anything. Like God will make a way as long as you trust.
Yes, He will.
Keep the faith. Stay in the Word, or believe in what He say, because, like I said, growing up in a Christian household, you definitely get taught to pray. So when I was talking to my dad, going back to him, he told me, "Are you getting on your knees and praying?"
Mm.
And that to me, that made a big difference.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, like I said, I really gave up on looking for a job. Didn't even think I was gonna get one. I said, you know what? Maybe this is not for me, like the barbering thing, because it was just going slow at the moment. And I said, you know what? Let me do that. So every morning, every night, I'll get down on my knees and pray. And the day I did that, I got my email for my interview to get my part-time job. So, like I said, having faith, praying, keep trusting God, that'll definitely keep you on the right path of, success. Because without God in my life, I don't feel like I'll be where I'm at today.
Amen. Amen. I'll tell you something else. Being around, we discussed the support system earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then being around like-minded people, you know what I mean? And then being around Bible believing people, people that believe in God, being around all those people that's in that inner circle, you know what I mean? They're not gonna let you fall, because they're gonna encourage you just like you're gonna encourage them. You see,
Yeah.
so that's what's up, man. I really enjoyed that story. I enjoyed that question, you know, from student to professional, man.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that answer. AOC setup team. Let the people know about that, man. Let the people know about it. Let them know what we do.
The ALC setup team, like I said, I started my way back into going to church July 2022. And your son, one of my best friends, my brother, like you said, from my dad, is more than my friend. He's just somebody I just hold near and dear to me, and I look up to. He influenced me to, start going to church again. And I told, we always have phone conversation. I told him, like, I ain't been to church in a minute. Like not that I lost my faith or anything. I just haven't went. He's like, man, why don't you just start coming to church with us? So he sent me the address to where the church was, and I went. And then that evening after service, he was like, you thinking about joining the team? And I think that week after, if I'm not mistaken, because it wasn't too long after I started going, I joined the team, and I've been on it 3 years now, because it's 2026. So 2022 to 20, it'll be 4 years in July. But I've been on the production, or we call it the production team now, well, for what I run. But the setup team, like, it's just something I guess I kind of got into the rhythm of doing. And I said this would, at first it was my reason to keep going to church.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I had something to do at church, I'll come. Cause like I said, I got out of it. Like I wasn't even, Sundays was just another kind of day to me. It wasn't, I'm going to church on Sunday. But the setup team, it definitely like you said, it involves work, and it it's going to teach you a skill. It teaches you how to do something. How to,
Mm-hmm.
for one, you got to be on time. I'm not always on time, but I'm saying it's just like a job.
Yeah.
You got to be on time. You got a task to do, or you got a duty to do. Somebody's trusting you to do that duty. And if we ain't getting it done, there's no church production for the live stream. And other stuff like there's no sound.
Right.
There's no lights. There's no
camera
actions.
Right.
Because most of the stuff, like I said, there's different aspects of the setup team. Like for what I do is the production team, but like that's what I'm going to speak off of. Like I said, there's no camera, there's no lights, there's no sound, there's not going to be nothing. So if it wasn't for the setup team at ALC, it wouldn't be no production. Like we'll still have church service, but for the people out here who maybe looking for a church home or who can't attend church, it wouldn't be nothing for them because we're not doing our job. So it's definitely something you have to be committed to. And I'll say, like I said, I've been doing it for 3 years now. So I would definitely say I'm committed because I'm still doing it. And like I said, it was just something for me to get back into going to church. But now it's not like, I don't feel like it's a chore. Like,
right.
I never felt like that, like it was a chore. But at first it was like something to make me like say, hey, let me get up and go to church, help them set up. But now it's just like a routine. Like Sundays, I'm going to church. Like that's what my off days are Sundays and Mondays. Sundays consist of one, I'm going to church. First thing. That's the first thing that's going to be done. Go to church on Sunday. And then after that, whatever the day brings. But Sundays is definitely church unless I already had something else going on. But definitely the setup team, I would say, got my way back into going to church. So ALC, Pastor Kelly, I'm really appreciative y'all, letting me come on board with y'all. Y'all never, turned me away in any type of way. Y'all welcomed me with open arms the first day I showed up. And, like I said, I've been rocking 3 years now. So I'm really thankful for it.
One more question and I'm out of here. How many times Donnell done fired you?
But Donnell definitely has fired me a lot of times. I'm on the HR team. I'll say that because he always say, "Get your notepad," because this is who we writing up today. But
so he done fired you so many times. He done hired you back.
Yeah,
in HR.
I'm hired in HR because I got my pink slip too in my clipboard. But back to how you're saying about the setup team. The setup team is a job. We do have a job to do for the church, but it doesn't feel like that. Like it's more of a family or a brotherhood because it is men. We're a group of men setting up the church to run the production for the online of the church. Because like I said, if we're not there, there's no camera, there's no audio, there's no ALC. I'm gonna say that because you've been there longer than me and you've seen where the church started and where it's at now. And so that now that we're in a building, the setup team is definitely still important because y'all had a setup team 10 years ago.
Yes.
Still got a setup team. So us being there, definitely we play a part. And one of the major parts, because I'm going to say it like this, we're the first people in the building.
Yes.
Last people to leave.
Yes.
So
yes.
We start church at 10. We're there 7, 8 o'clock. We don't leave maybe 1 or 2 o'clock.
Yep.
Everybody else is gone. So I don't think a lot of people see that. And yes, Pastor thanks us every week about, being there, the setup team, camera crew, the musicians, everybody, because everybody plays a role in the church. So the setup team is definitely one of the most important roles in the church. And I feel without us, it wouldn't be an ALC because yes, the church is ALC, but everybody plays their role to, fulfill the ALC. So setup team is definitely we got to at least be top 5. I wouldn't say we're probably number 1, but we got to be top 5.
Hey, you got to represent though, man.
Yeah.
You got to.
But I'm gonna say we're number 1 because we first in the building, last to leave.
Last to leave, yes sir.
I'm gonna say it like that. My name is Phil Stigler Jr. and this is my Block Conversation.